All right. Peace and love, everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, like and subscribe. And I want to say welcome and to everyone out there in social media land on this Monday, Moon Day, December 15th. It's beautiful cold day where I am, and I hope wherever you are feeling wonderful and surrounded by love, peace, and harmony and good health. So, today, family, we are going to talk about what's going on in the world around us. Wherever you are, if you've been paying attention, and if you haven't been paying such attention, you know that there's something is going on planet Earth. Like, what's up, family, on planet Earth? Is so much happening at the same time, and it may look different, but it's the same thing, kind of. You know that saying, same soup, different bowl. I implore you that a lot of the stuff that we are seeing that's going on around the world, and people are just in a stunned or in awe or just in shock about the things that are happening. It's happening in stages everywhere, and it's very similar. It just may not look the same or have that same exact same characteristic, but it's the same thing that's happening all over. And it's so much happening all at once. So many timelines have happening at one time. Have you noticed that things are not the way they used to be? Um, and the reason why things are not the way that they used to be is because things are rapidly changing, and the old world, the old paradigm shift is coming to an end or has come to an end. And as that happens, more and more people are awakening to the falsehoods that have been put into place for a very long time. And these falsehoods have been accepted as the norm and have been accepted as the established fact, if you will. And as the layers are pulled back, just like peeling the layers off an onion, or as a snake sheds its skin, you're starting to see more and more things are being revealed. And so that's why it's feeling more like things are just not the way they used to be. And so this is the topic tonight: is the system breaking? Is the system breaking, or was it already broken and we were so accustomed to the brokenness that as things shift, we start to notice that it's a broken system? Something to ponder about. So let's dive deep into this topic. So, as you notice, as you begin to awaken, and those around you begin to awaken in mass. It's a mass awakening taking place in stages, because everybody's at different places in the awakening process if they choose. And as they awaken, you begin to see the illusions more clearly. You begin to see the falsehood more clearly. But when you're under the sleep spell, it's not as apparent and it's not as noticeable as it is once you go through the awakening process. More and more things are being revealed at a faster rate now due to the technology that we have and due to people asking more questions, people not being satisfied. That's the key thing. Dissatisfaction brings about change. People are not as satisfied with the mundane anymore, and people are not as satisfied with the false narratives that um, have been given to people for a very long time. The false narratives that have been used to pacify the masses is not pacifying anymore. When the baby, is satisfied with the milk, and then when the milk runs out, it's no more, and they start to cry, and that's what we're having now. The people are crying out and protest and in shifting the narrative and exposing things more. That's their way of crying out, not a literal crying out necessarily, but crying out against the established norms, which weren't really put us into place to benefit the masses of the people, just a certain group. So this is all that's happening right now. Economic systems, government systems, housing systems, people are looking for answers and losing hope in the things that they were taught to believe in. There's many folks are walking away from their jobs, walking away from government systems, choosing to live a totally different way, creating their own rules or coming together with each other based on different ideologies. And this is happening everywhere, believe it or not. It's not just here in the US, United States. Is happening all over. There are people who are separating from what I call the matrix, or system, or the status quo, whatever you want to call it. People are separating, and not everyone, of course, because it is free will, but the ones who are, and unplugging from the system and no longer willing to play by the rules, they are uniting with like-minded people and are moving in a different direction, which is natural and normal. When people don't think the same, they align themselves with people who do think like them. It's natural process, and it should be welcomed and accepted, because when you have opposing thought forms, at some point conflict will come up. And the conflict can be minor or it can be major, depending on the level of conflict and how emotionally attached, or a person is to whatever the conflict is, or the argument is two opposing sides. So that can result in what we're seeing, which is people demanding regime change, wars breaking out, people challenging the systems that are in place, challenging the education systems, the political systems, the laws, and it's happening everywhere. And many of the things that are in place, the systems, if you will, that are in place, whether it's political, educational, correctional, whatever, they were not, the input of masses of people who were impacted by those systems was not sought. It was developed and created by someone else and given to masses of people, and they were forced and told they had to follow this or else, in many cases. And so the learning of these systems that we see dissolving was, many of our ancestors learned these things under the threat of violence, under the threat of harm, and or it was indoctrinated into them in a way that did not allow any alternative. it was this or that, or didactic in a way where you do as I say, not as I do, or you either accept this or there's going to be some serious consequences. And it wasn't a issue of let's talk about and come to a mutual agreement, or what's for your highest good, or what's for helping you be successful and succeed. It was to uplift and maintain a certain way of life that was operating like a well-oiled machine for a very long time. But there's some glitches in that machine, and the machine is slowly breaking down in stages. In fact, in some instances, I would say the machine is completely broken down, and the spare tires are wobbling, and it's about to just totally break down, in the very near future. And we're watching it as it happens. So all these systems are leaving people frustrated, angry, seeking answers, losing hope. And in that, they are doing different things to restore a sense of purpose, or the hope that they've lost. And it's manifesting in many different forms. So as people unplug from the system, it takes on different forms. Some people, it may they may appear like they are losing their minds. Others are strategizing and making sure that they stay in a certain level of consciousness. It looks different with different people, but it is happening, family. Um, the recent shutdown that the federal government had here in the US taught us a lot about self sufficiency and self reliance. Many people were out of work for weeks. And matter of fact, with the changes under the new administrations, many folks have been out of work for months. I know quite a few people who were laid off or terminated from jobs. Some jobs were terminated because of funding being restricted, or the funding no longer exists, whatever the case may be. But many people are out of work, and that has led to a movement where many have explored other options, taking other jobs, doing different things, being tapping into their creativity, many different um many different paths with when this happens. And I think that it taught a lot of people to come together and work together to solve their own problems. Many folks, the way, I was taught by people growing up that you put your put your faith and your trust in leadership. Like, if you want change in your local government, that you have to vote for certain people, or elect people in office that will make those changes. Or if you want bigger changes, then you have to vote in um the federal elections to make changes at a state level, at a government level, or whatever. And people, that was pushed, that was a narrative that I heard from every adult when I was growing up. I didn't hear I unfortunately I didn't grow up around a lot of enlightened people or people who thought outside of the status quo. So I was raised to think, well, I wouldn't even say that. I was taught that you rely on others to make changes for you. But the government shutdown taught many of us that even when the government is not available or is not giving us the funding that we're seeking, that we as a people should come together and solve these issues ourselves. And that's what a lot of people did. A lot of people created food banks, clothing banks. A lot of people came together and supported one another and supported those in need in their community. There's nothing at all wrong with going to elections if that is what you choose to do. And there's nothing, certainly nothing wrong with um, making your own decisions and choices. However, if you see that something needs to be done, something needs to be addressed, and is not being addressed in a timely manner, you do have the power within yourself and with your community that you all can organize, do some capacity building, and get some things done yourself. Many people see things, and this is just a side note, that's out of order and imbalance in their community, and they think someone else is going to resolve it, but you have the power within yourself and with your community. You know, there's strength in your community, there's a resilience, there's empowerment in your community. Find those like-minded people with you in your community, and you all can work together to resolve some of the issues that you face. Like if you live in an area that is waterfront and is heavily polluted, you don't have to wait for an election for someone to get into office to organize something to clean up the community. This is something that you can do on your own. You can organize people in your community, whether it's your faith-based community, your neighborhood, a river keeper association or whatever, and you all can plan cleanups. You all can plan food distributions. You all can plan whatever it is that your heart desires that you see needs to be done. Many folks do a lot of charitable and outreach things around the holidays, but what about the rest of the year? People need food, clothing, shelter, support the rest of the year, not just during the holidays. So if we can come together as a people and organize things when there's a crisis, then certainly we can see, or the holidays, then certainly we can come together and organize and support one another and lift each other up any other time. There's strength in our numbers, and we are a proud, resilient, very strong people, and we can do these things on our own. Self-sufficiency and self-reliance is a must, and self is also the groups that you identify with. That is also an extension of self, and organize and work together to be self sufficient and self reliant and support one another. So let's move towards a new form of leadership, a shared governance, um, with policies that are for the people, by the people, designed to really empower and create what the people feel they need for themselves. And this is something that they can do only by being more actively engaged and involved. Um, all over our planet, the powers that be, or the elite, or whatever you want to call them, are making these harmful decisions, and especially when it comes to the environment. And the people around the world are pushing back. I saw a video on Instagram, I think a few date maybe about week or two ago, where a group of indigenous people in the Amazon stormed into a government building somewhere in South America, demanding that the government stop the logging and the deforestation in their area. They are being heavily impacted and harmed by polluting facilities, mining facilities, which also are polluting, and the deforestation and the shrinking of the rainforest that they call home. And they want it to stop. And so they tried it another way. And then they decided to arm themselves. They put their traditional clothing on, traditional adornment, and they went into these buildings and demanded something be done. And I don't know the outcome of what was in the short video clip, but things like that are happening everywhere. People are um, storming into lawmaking facilities, demanding to speak to them, demanding that they make changes and on their policies, their domestic and their foreign policies, and make these policies more conducive to the people that live under the decisions that they make, that have to deal with the decisions that they make when they decide they want to build data centers or factories or CAFOs, or if they want to do mining or logging, or other things that they are doing that is causing harm to Mother Earth and its people and the flora and fauna. And we all know that the world we live in right now, today, the Gregorian calendar 2025, we inherited this from the generations before us, where a lot of harmful practices were done. And now we're trying to resolve them, mitigate them, and fix them, as we're facing all kinds of crises, not just climate and environmental. Um, it's so much that is we've inherited, and the powers that be, again, in the past, made these decisions not thinking, or maybe not caring about how it would impact future generations. Well, we are the future is now, we're experiencing it now. And so we have to make a different decision for now and the future generations. Many of us are going to be here in the near future. I don't plan on going anywhere the next, few years. And so we are the future. The future is now. And we have to make better decisions, safer decisions, and decisions that don't have harmful repercussions down the line in the future. It's okay to live in luxury now, but if it's going to have harmful long-term side effects, that's not good. And we don't want to pass down from the to the next generation the harm that has been done. For example, I took a boat ride during the summer, and they showed us, it was this mass pile of trash it was a riverboat um cruise or whatever. And it was this massive pile of trash in the river, and it had all like clumped together, and it was just sitting there floating along. And It's stuff like that everywhere. There's like a dead zone in the ocean, they say, where it's a bunch of pollution that and has accumulated together, and nothing can live or grow in it. These things exist everywhere, and then, not to mention the particulate matter and the air pollution is so much, but this is all around us and it affects all of us to some degree. So we have to urge people to make better decisions. And if you are in an area where they are making decisions that impact your health and the health of your environment and the habitat of the flora and fauna around you, then yes, by all means, speak up, push back, protest, give your public comment, and because this is our home as well, and we can no longer let others make decisions that impact us and that is going to have a harmful or even deadly impact on us from now and going forward. Because right now we're trying to clean up and fix the damage that has been done. So, like I said, mention that pile of trash that I saw in when I took a river cruise. That trash, I'm sure, didn't just pop up there overnight. Stuff has been on the ground for years, and it eventually will end up in our water systems in some way. So we just need to be a little bit more cognizant and pay better attention to the decision making that's going on around us. Many people feel like, oh, I'm just one person, I can't do anything, or, one person is not powerful enough. But things start with one, and then it adds on, it multiplies. You find other people who feel the same way you do, or want to support what you think. Like-minded people create groups, which create political parties, which create governments or whatever. So, or you have to find your tribe, as they say, and your tribe is linked to you by your consciousness, not just your ethnicity or the history that you share, because you can share the same history with someone. They may have a similar background as you, same color as you, same religion or spiritual practice as you, or whatever, but you all are on opposite ends when it comes to how you think. And so you have to find the people that you resonate with and that share your level of consciousness, and that is your tribe. That is who you work with, that is who you rock with, and that is the ones that will help lift you up. So, family, as the illusions are dissolving, we are discovering more and more each day the truth about ourselves and the truth about the world we live in. The sleep spell is over. Um, those who don't see it, choose not to see. Those who can't hear it, choose not to hear. Those who are blinded and mentally thinking, and going along with the status quo, you know, or the matrix, they are that's their choosing. Everybody's given a choice, and you could take, like they say, the red pill or the blue pill. You can drink the Kool-Aid or whatever. People are choosing not to wake up, and that's fine. They want to stay under the sleep spell. That's their choice. It feels more comfortable for them. Some people do not and will not step out of their comfort zone for whatever reason, whether it's fear or they choose not to, and that's their choice. But those of us who have eyes to see what's going on around us and ears to hear and a mind to think, we are choosing not to stay in the sleep spell. We are choosing to wake up and be proactive and to keep um, walking the path of self-realization and self-discovery, because that's what's really happening. People are discovering who they are. People are discovering the the truth behind the lies and the illusion. And many of us are at that awakening stage. You know, an awakening is a journey. It's not a one-time thing. It's a journey, it's a process. Some people say the more you go down a rabbit hole, the deeper it gets. And that's the way knowledge is. Knowledge is infinite. You're always going to be searching and seeking and learning. And so please, family, keep yourselves in a positive state now. Stay balanced, stay grounded. I've done videos over the years talking about this awakening process that we're going through, and gave you all I shared many tips from my own experiences and others, how to stay grounded, stay balanced at this time, how to eliminate some of the negative thinking, and just to keep yourselves in a state of being grounded and balanced. And we don't want to go back to sleep because it feels comfortable. Some people are numb to their reality. They want to stay in a certain space. They don't want to grow outside that space. They prefer to stay plugged in. They prefer to do what everybody else is doing, the herd mentality, and that's fine. If that is what feels good and feels natural and feels comfortable and safe for them, let them. And you have to decide what is your path, what is your destiny. um do you want to be a part of the herd and the sheeple, or do you want to walk a path and make your own path, a path, make clear the way for yourself as you walk and create your own path? It's up to you. So, with that, family, I hope this message helped anyone that's watching it this evening, and anyone that it resonate with. Please give me a comment below. I pray that we all stay balanced, grounded, and supported at this time. And it's a lot of change happening rapidly. We all know change is the only constant, and it with this change, let's be more patient with one another, be patient with ourselves, because we have never lived through a period of time like this before, not in this dispensation. So be patient with yourself, be patient with each other. Remember that you are breaking down old cycles and thousands of years of conditioning. And with that, I bid you all a peaceful evening and rest of your week. Peace, love, good health, and abundance and happiness. See you next time. Thank you for now.